Hello there, welcome to Bryan Lomax Movie Talk and my review for A Quiet Place Part 2. This is a film I've been highly looking forward to. Obviously it's very much later than planned. It was supposed to come out, much earlier last year. But finally it's been out and I gotta say it was worth the wait. So the first film was one of the better kind of creature feature horror movie sci-fi type films that has been out in recent years. John Krasinski kind of really put himself on the map as a director to watch, and I was a bit nervous when they first announced part 2, but gotta say they did a bang up job, really great job. This film, it has a little bit at the beginning that kind of is set before the aliens arrived, and then once that's kind of establishes a few characters that weren't in the previous film, helps us along with a few bits of information that we'll need for this film. Then we're brought back to present day, right where the first film left off, basically, and we go straight from there. You could literally edit the first two films, both these films together. You could take that front section of this one, stick it before the first film, and then whack the rest of it on the end of this, and it would feel like one long film. We get a different cinematographer on this one in Polly Morgan, replacing another female cinematographer. In the previous film we had Charlotte Bruce, however you pronounce that. So that's interesting, but we don't see many female cinematographers, but Bruce did an excellent job on the first film, and Morgan does an excellent job here, not least of which because she captures the flavour of that first film. She doesn't bring anything onto the table or that kind of makes this feel like a different universe, and yet she still manages to do some excellent things with the camera. Emily Blunt is once again fantastic as Evelyn Abbott. I thought she kind of stole the show in the first film. I think I even nominated her in a previous Lomax Movie Awards because of that performance, and she is equally great here. I think with a film like this it can often be quite easy to overlook performances. I think the Oscars certainly do, because there's a lot of action set pieces and things like that, but actually she gets a lot of quiet moments here too, a lot of real emotional beats that this is a woman struggling to keep her family alive in the most dire of circumstances, and the family goes through the ringer. The kids in this just really have to go through some stuff. That being said, I do think that Krasinski does a fantastic job of really kind of not holding to convention. There are a few things I would have expected to have happened in this film that don't happen, and there are some things I didn't see coming which were like, oh wow, stroke of genius. A particular kind of moment, big sequence towards the end of the film involving the kids. I won't say any more than that, other than it's a really genius moment. It's a great moment because it's unexpected, and it puts the kids in the spotlight in a way that I just think it gets me pumped by the end of the film. At the end of the film, I'm just like, yeah! We get no change in the aliens in this. It's the same aliens we had in the first film. He sticks with them. They're our villains. That's all we need. Doesn't introduce the idea of a queen or winged versions, or that's what I would expect with a sequel. Aliens did it brilliantly, and ever since then, when you get a sequel to like a monster movie or whatever, they tend to upscale the alien or the monster with each kind of subsequent film. Now they can go underwater, now they can fly, and it's just like, can we not, the aliens from the first one are scary enough, let's stick with them. Gives the characters more than enough to compete with. Cillian Murphy is the new addition to this film, so in many respects he takes on the father figure role. but he's got a lot to live up to, because the father in the first film, played by John Krasinski, he was obviously a man who he was very brave, would always do the right thing, would run headlong into battle to save his kids and whatnot. And this guy is someone who, he's lost his family, and he's gotten to the point now where he's just trying to stay alive. He doesn't want this other family, even though he knows them from the past, he wants them to go. He doesn't want the burden of having to look after them. It's too much, given everything that he's gone through and the fact that he's lost his family already. So that's an interesting character to play with, and to send him on this journey where he's got to get close to these kids. They kind of got to become his own responsibility. Will he meet that responsibility? Will he take that burden on? And where will that journey take him? So that's a really interesting ride, and Cillian Murphy does an excellent job with it. He's a fantastic actor, Murphy. Anyway, I've always liked him. But he's got one of those faces that he's clearly an attractive guy, but there's a very much a tortured soul behind those eyes. There's a lot of pathos there. There's a lot of stuff going on with Cillian Murphy, where he can just sit there and stare at into the middle distance, and you feel like there's a lot going on. So yeah, perfect casting, but yeah, fantastic job from him on the acting front as well. It is a film about survival and how humanity may or may not be lost in our attempts to maintain that survival. How far are we willing to go in order to stay alive? Some people will do some heinous things in order to do so, and some won't cross certain lines. So yeah, that's where this character of Cillian Murphy comes in. What kind of guy is he going to be, and what impact will having this family, having life to share with others, have on him as an individual? Millicent Simmonds and Noah Jupe are back as the kids. Now, they have aged a bit. Obviously, this is meant to take place directly after the first film. It's very tricky when it comes to kids, because kids age quite quickly, and obviously there's a year apart between the filming of these at least. So that is kind of noticeable, but little things like that you can kind of let slide when it comes to movies, because you've just got to accept that fact. But they do a reasonable job of trying to make them appear as they did in the first film. But you can't help but notice that, yeah, they are a little bigger. What is the most important thing, though, is that they are fantastic actors, and they really sell the journey that they have to go on. Millicent in particular, like I said, I thought she was a standout in the first film as well, a really good find. So it's great that she gets to come back here and do more with this character. This film kept me anxious. I got to say that's down to Krasinski's directing. It's got to be said. Like performances, everything like that, the music. The music is used in a really great way, because obviously it's called A Quiet Place Part 2. This is a film that deals in silence, and obviously much of this story is told through the perspective of the little girl who is deaf. So when we are completely within her kind of view of everything that's going on, Krasinski takes away the sound. We are with her, and the moment somebody reaches into her world, grabs her shoulder, pulls her out of the chaos, whatever, the sound comes back. I just think that's a really great way of showing us how these characters can be isolated by the world around them, and the inability to be able to produce any kind of sound or even hear it, for that matter. So this film was really effective in creating tension, building tension, keeping me anxious. I felt anxious throughout most of its running time. Quite a short running time, must be said. It's only an hour and a half, which by a lot of today's standards is a pretty short film. Seem to be kind of getting longer and longer running times these days. But no, it's a story that's very efficiently told. It's brilliantly edited. There's no baggage. It doesn't sag anywhere. It feels like everything that is there needs to be there, and it breezes by quite nicely, quite quickly. You don't feel like you've checking your clock or anything like that. And given that it's a film with a lot of quiet bits in it, that feels like quite an achievement, it must be said. Krasinski does a great job of building set pieces that feel organic, as you know, like an organic kind of continuation of the story. Like the moment when they go on this train, this kind of abandoned train car. You know, there's a reason to be there. There's reasons things happen. There's a reason people end up where they end up. And you know, given that Michael Bay is attached as a producer to this, you could very much believe that it would go down the path of, oh yeah, let's do some action here. This setting would make a great action set piece. But no, with Krasinski's writing, with him on board as director, he steers the ship in such a way that the action set pieces feel like an organic part of the story. And as a result, because of that character kind of building that is worked into it, you always feel tense, you always feel anxious, you're always wanting this family to get to safety or to get to the next leg of their journey. It's just, yeah, it's a thrill ride. It's a roller coaster ride in the best possible sense of the word. And I loved it. And I think that actually it may even be better than the first film. It's one of those rare instances where the sequel certainly lives up to the first film, but may indeed be even better. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure where I'd place them right now. I have to watch that first one again before I'm sure, but I really like this one. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. But what about you? Have you seen A Quiet Place Part 2 already? And would you rank it above or below the first one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, cracking.